Hey there everyone, welcome to the Happy Hippo Habitat, is how I called it. Yeah, today's episode is a bit more of a normal habitat speed build. The problem is, I would love to call it normal, but it's not that normal because it ended up being very awesome indeed. And this shows me again that this game, you don't always need to do something crazy. And for the eagle eyes persons amongst you, you will notice that this is an older build than the one with the floating mountains. I just decided to have the floating mountains first and then go with the normal franchise mode again. There's no particular reason behind that, to be honest. I just wanted to have the floating mountains out first. No, that's basically it. Yeah, I was having some trouble to get the water into the level I wanted it to. I ended up, I can already spoil you, by not having the river continuing until the lemur habitat. Because obviously, yes, from the lemur habitat and the floating islands, you know that this habitat is basically empty at the end of the floating island habitat. So, yep, I mean, it's still in. You can see how it all, I mean, it's all about the process, right? People seem to enjoy all the builds because of the process, and that's why I keep this all in. It was a bit tricky at the beginning to make this all happen, and I was trying everything with the habitat, but it just didn't work out. Also because of paths, I did delete the path, and I just couldn't get the water to the level I wanted it to. And at a certain point, I was like, come on, just screw it. I'm just taking the area for what it is and just use it that way. As you can see, that's how it is. I then was trying to get closer again, just didn't work as well, and yeah, I just ended up having a bit of a thicker kind of traverse area in the middle. Actually, it was not too stupid to have one there, because then there is also better access for my staff members. So yeah, I was actually making a centralized island, or like a middle island in this river, because this river is split into two habitats. The left hand side of the river will be the part for the hippo, and the right hand side will be the part for a gharial. So that's the next episode we are doing. Today's episode will focus on the hippo first, and the next episode then will focus on the gharial. But now, as I'm a little bit on a time trouble here, I will leave you alone for a few minutes, and I'll jump in at like around 10 minutes again of the video to talk you through what we've done. And this will be all about, the next couple of minutes will be all about laying down the foundation for this area. I have to admit, this area might even be potentially the most great looking area in the whole zoo for what it is. I didn't even believe that this could be happening, but it did. So yeah, I hope to catch you in like 6 minutes or so, and then we talk further about this video. Now here we are, guys, in the second part already of this video, and I have to say, damn it, looking at the footage again shows me again how much of a struggle it always is to put down the pathing. Oh my god, guys, it's pathing in this game is still very finicky. I don't want to call it awful, because at the end it allows you to do whatever you want to do. Just the time and patience you need to get there is just on another level. Here you can see I just plopped the hippo down just real quick to see what it needs and what we need to do. I am, as I said, fairly happy with the result later on, because one thing I wanted to talk to you about for a while now, and I always forgot in the videos, is the terrain painting itself. So there is this one thing I was really afraid about. In Planet Coaster, for example, the terrain had no function and you could basically paint everything about what you wanted it to look like, just the way you wanted it to, right? You could just paint the whole thing as a beach, a whole beach out of sand, no one would care. And it ended up that the terrain tool itself became almost like a brush to make areas really look exactly the way you wanted them to look. And I was a bit afraid, since the animals have a certain need, that, you know, I couldn't go into this level of customization with the terrain I wanted to have it to, simply because they need, for example, more soil, but I wanted to have the whole thing look a bit more greener because I like it more, and I was afraid that this would be a bigger issue. However, I have to say, the terrain paint tool is so great in that game, and also the demands for the animals we have in the beta, at least, seem to be very accurate and very nice. I never actually have the feeling that I would need to do some other terrain painting than I did for the animal itself. You always are free to paint the dedicated terrain styles wherever you want. So if you know, it makes sense to have sand around the water area. It makes sense to have the soil around the areas where the hippo would sleep and walk a lot, you know, and you're always free to use it wherever you want. And also, as you can see, I'm using the plants that the animal likes, and I still can make the habitat look the way I wanted it to. So there are like a lot of things I really do admire and like about this. So it's really pretty cool how it worked out in the end. You can see this habitat is starting to look like a lot better with all the plants. I was putting down even more of those, even though the hippo already said it has enough. But the animals are fine as long as they have the enough plants they like. They are not too much worried about having too many plants or to whatever. They're still happy. As long as the welfare is kind of fine, they are always happy about it. And yeah, that's all you need to know. You can still make the habitat look nice and tidy and whatever, how you want it to look. So yeah, you can see I'm using again a lot of these rocks to make the texture. Just basically the reason why I'm using so many rocks all over the place always is to get a bit more texture and variation into this, to just break up a little bit with the flat terrain, just to give it a bit more depth but also a bit more texture. That's the reason why I would highly recommend to use a lot of rocks as well, because rocks are fairly important when it comes to make landscapes really look like realistic but also very interesting. They kind of create this layer of interest to look at and they are just breaking the mood a little bit. And I was just doing some more terrain work here so that the hippo can actually reach that mountain. You can see now they can go up the hill, which is good. And obviously I put down all the different things they need. I put down some you know, enrichment items. I was putting down also a food trough and all these kind of stuff they need. However, again, we had some problem with the hard shelter, which will be the end of this episode, because I was putting down one of my blueprints I made in the blueprint episode. You know about this one, and I found this to be fitting in this area absolutely perfectly fine. I don't know why exactly it happened, but it just was perfectly fitting. And yeah, I'm doing a lot of research, by the way, in the meantime. I got a second hippo. I got a dead lion again. Every time in every episode there needs to be a dead animal, I guess. Yeah, I just made a lot of hard shelters now for these animals, and I didn't even know how to do it because it just never worked out. And now at the end of this episode, this habitat has so many hard shelters. It can house like 5 million hippos, and they will all be able to have hard shelters. I don't know why exactly this happened, but yeah. I was looking for some more hippos, couldn't find any more, but now as we have a male and a female, they can make babies, and I can tell you already, we got one. We have a baby hippo at the moment, which is really awesome. We call it Frank, and everyone wants Frank to be a great, very nice, lovely hippo. But yeah, as soon as Frank is mature, we need to sell Frank, because obviously 2 male hippos in a habitat is not the best of ideas to have. Yeah, you can see food is working, everything is working, and I figured, okay, you know what, I'm just building another habitat over here, another how's it called again, another shelter, and I ended up doing an own version, a very simple one, but I feel like the simple one still looks nice, so I can say that this is yeah, it is kind of a shelter I'm happy with. It's not perfect, but it's something I would have done anyways. If I would have had a bit more time, it would be even more detailed, but for the moment it looks exactly the way it needs to look. It's not as shabby as it could be, but it's also not as detailed as it kind of creates some more time issues for me. So yeah, I'm just happy at the end of it, because it finally made the animal have enough shelter space. The hippos are very demanding when it comes to shelter, and it looks dope. Well, dope is too much. It looks nice. It looks okay-ish, I guess. Okay is basically the word we have. Yeah, but that's it already about this one. Just some more little pillars and stuff here and there, just to make sure that it looks a bit better. Nothing too crazy, just very briefly doing a bit of styling here. Just get in with a bit of a roundish pillar, just to make sure that there is a bit of a edge going on that looks nicer. And also, I think, did I do a pillar? Yeah, I did do a pillar over here and just moved it in so it looks a bit more interesting. And yeah, that's already about it. I didn't even do more. I just kept it the way it is to make sure that the hippo has some shelter. As you can see from the hard shelter tab now, it works. We called this one, I don't even know, is it sushi? I can't see because the preview I'm looking at right now is too small to see it. But yeah, you can see this looks actually pretty good. I mean, here you can see that's the final view of one of the areas in Habitat. I like it, but that's it for this episode. Hope to catch you in the next one. Have a great day, guys, and bye. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video, I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @Rennkamel. Also, big thanks to the crew, you can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.